In the headlines for the CBC NewsNight, government announces more staff and funding for the Ministry of Education as it calls for public support for the Education Transformation Initiative. Preparations underway for the unveiling of the monument to the Barbadian family in the city tomorrow. A new nature attraction in Christchurch officially opens. And in sports, merging Irish Skittled out the 62 as the Windies Academy go one-up in their 4-day match series.
The headline news is brought to you by RBC, a bank for all of you.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is calling for nationwide support for government's Education Transformation Initiative. The government today demonstrated its backing, announcing more staff and funding for the Ministry of Education. Sharika Griffith reports.
This is not a Ministry of Education project. This is not a whole of government project. This is a whole of nation project.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley asking Barbadians to get behind the plan to provide a bright future for every child. Her call came during the screening of the documentary The First Class, which tells the story of CrossTown High in Memphis, a high school seeking to redefine the future of learning.
We're going to see crime go down in this country, if we're going to see poverty go down in this country, if we're going to see youngsters have opportunities in this country to be whatever you want, and to be able to go wherever you want on this earth and still give back to your country, then we need a whole of country, a whole of nation approach. And there's no better time for me to give you this pledge than on the eve of our 57th anniversary of independence. This is our nation, and this is what it demands of us, from the young ones right back through to those of you who are retired. This is what we have to do together.
For government's part, the Prime Minister has announced additional resources for the Ministry of Education.
Some of you wonder and are panicking, but the Ministry of Education, they ain't got the ability to do X, Y, Z, so how are they going to do this? Because we're giving them. Today I'm creating additional posts for the ministry, and I'm creating sufficient posts to be able to deal with all of its facets that it has to deal with, from dealing with the realities within schools right back through to the transformation and the innovation that's necessary to carry us over the next few years to help make this real. As Minister of Finance, I have made the commitment with Minister Strawn to be able to put the funds in place, not just this year or next year, but for us to be able to have a sustainable source of funding, because this will be the most consequential project in terms of getting it right.
Prime Minister Motley has pledged to meet with the opposition and education stakeholders. She says the exact design of the transformation will come after the consultative process finishes. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
The documentary shows the implementation of project-based learning, which allows for greater student involvement. Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw believes it could help foster creativity among students. She was speaking during a panel discussion following the screening.
Right now we focus on the knowledge and the comprehension and the application. Sometimes we do a bit of analysis and synthesis and evaluation, but it's time for us now to move to a higher level where our children can create. Not only create, but express themselves in various ways. We have fun and have fun while doing it, right? We had children doing drama, poetry, art. I love the little hologram that I saw one of the students make. Terrell, yes. So this is something that we need to go home, everybody, and research the project-based approach and see how we can utilize it in our classrooms.
Executive Director of CrossTown, Chris Terrell, says it's possible to achieve the results they did without significant resources.
If you boil it down and you look at, like, if you listen to the words and the message from students and you see the projects that are unfolding, like, there were not substantial resources that needed to happen in order to to build those projects. You know, you saw the refugee project, and you saw a couple other, like really the Mars project, and we didn't spend tons of money to make that happen. Now, what we did have to do is give up some of the more traditional things, like instead of having a 400-page biology book that we're starting on page 1 and going from the first page to the last page in the course of a year, we diverged from there, and we still we're held to the same standards. Like you saw our students take the exams, but we got there a different way. And
Scores of secondary school students were invited to view the film. CBC spoke with some of them to get their reaction after the screening.
It was a very fun and a very immersive film.
I think it was very inspiring.
I would like Barbados to get this because, I don't know, it will make the schools more interesting. As the girls say, classes will be boring, real talk. But if we more hands-on in schoolwork, I feel it will be more interesting and children will learn more, because sometimes students got ADHD and they just can't sit down and listen to the teacher talk. They just want to do.
I think how they showed the struggle to get to where they needed to be was very inspiring for me, because as growing up, where I come from, it just be difficult to balance the life at home and the life at school. So when you see that everybody else dealing with it, it's big. Yeah, I could do this here too.
Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Carrie Symonds has defended government's plans to undertake education reform. He was speaking at a joint St. James North and South Branch meeting last evening. Mr. Symonds notes the changes are necessary to prevent thousands of young people from slipping through the cracks.
If every year we are going to lose 30% to 40% of our young people, I do not know how much slower we are to go, because every year, if you're going to take a percentage of the 5,000 who set the 11 plus exam, 10% of 5,000 is 500. 30% will be 1,500. So I asked Mr. Jones, how many more thousands must slip between the cracks? How many more lives that should be pregnant with potential must now be fueled by a forced failure?
Meanwhile, St. James North MP Edmund Hinkson, Barbados' representative to the African, Caribbean, Pacific, European Union Joint Parliamentary Assemblies, is assuring the public there's nothing to fear from the Samoa Agreement. He explains the document signed on the 15th is multifaceted with numerous benefits.
It speaks to ocean governance, migration, health. What's more important than health? Peace and security, democracy, sustainable development and economic growth, human rights and human and social development. That's what this agreement is about. And this agreement constitutes a win-win situation for the ACP and EU. It isn't that, as the Lord Bishop of that church is saying, that we are signing our people back into colonialism.
The build-up to Independence Day continues with a major event tomorrow evening, one which comes with some degree of anticipation. It's that of the unveiling of the monument to the Barbadian family and, of course, the Independence Concert. Well, joining us live to provide some details about the event is Chief Executive Officer of the National Cultural Foundation, Carol Roberts. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Wendy, and how are you this wonderful Monday evening?
I am well, but I am sure you and your staff are super busy preparing for what is going to be a major event in this city. We are going to see a new monument where that other person used to be. Tell me how we're going to be engaged tomorrow evening.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, first of all, to update the public and hope fully tempt them to come down to National Hero Square tomorrow evening from as early as 4:30. So we have two events in the space. 4:30 tomorrow evening will be the official opening and unveiling ceremony of the monument to the Barbadian family. You refer to it as that other person, but if you recall, just about 2 years ago, we would have decommissioned the statue of Admiral Nelson and immediately embarked upon a plan to both engage the public and also to come up with a fitting theme and installation in the space. And so tomorrow we will see the work of two outstanding Barbadian artists, Vincent Jones and Hugh Holder. They will not only share their vision with you in public, but for the first time we will see the full monument. So of course we've been driving through Bridgetown, or we've been standing on a balcony in Parliament or any of those high-rise buildings and looking across and wondering, what on earth is this? You will see it tomorrow. It is a stunning piece of art installation, and when we hear the story behind it and the themes represented, I am sure that we will not only have a better understanding of the installation, but also great appreciation of the work and the creative excellence of the artists Vincent Jones and Hugh Holder. We will also have performances during this unveiling ceremony, and these performances have been deliberately selected to reflect families in entertainment. So Nikita Brown and Jan Gibson, two cousins, Peach and Ashanta, mum and daughter, the Most Honorable Dr. Anthony Gabby Carter and his mentor and the son of his wife, Bit Bit, they will be performing. And immediately after that, we will have a choreographed unveiling featuring the Israel Level Foundation and Haynesville Drummers, and also a contingent from the Zoav Band in uniform. And then the official party will take a tour of the space, and then it will be open to the public. And that actually will be a wonderful setting and a good vantage point. One of the good vantage points then to enjoy the Independence concert. Now, we would have had the inaugural Independence concert last year, and we are continuing this year. That concert will start at just about 6:30 p.m. And deliberately again, this year, it is based on a theme that you can close your eyes and hear so many Barbadians saying, boy, in Barbados, we got a wealth of talent. Well, tomorrow, we're going to make that saying come to life when we showcase excellent entertainers in song, music, and dance from cultural groups, from churches, from other associations, from the hotel circuit, from schools and community groups all across the island. And we guarantee that you will be thrilled and amazed and highly entertained at the quality of entertainment we have in these institutions and these associations all across the island. I would call some names, Wendy, but I think when I start, I will have to call all. So I know that I can tell you that we have the National Youth Symphony Orchestra, we've got Euphony Steele, the Israel Level Drummers, the Margan Legal Voice Project, and then we have an independence band led by Darian Bailey. And we have the likes of Kashida Doughton, Jermon Waith, Shadia Marshall, Chris Irie, Simon Pipe, Barry Reed, King Shad, who would have made his debut on stage at the Junior Calypso Monarch competition this year, Risa Garnes, the wonderful dance group, the Gemini Project, Patrick Ford, who inspires us all with his amazing determination to live his life as he wants, and he's a great dancer. Pearls Dance Academy, Sunrock, Asanta, Shantae, and so many others. It's going to be a great concert.
Well, just listening to that lineup alone, we can be happy and we can know that every genre of music is being represented, as well as the inclusivity of it all, with our disabled members being a part of the cast. Okay.
I forgot Kweku Jelani. Add his name to the list.
Right. So we're looking forward to it. Bridgetown will come alive tomorrow evening from 4:30, I believe, is what you said the start time will be.
Yes, from 4:30. So from 4:30 to just about 5:30 will be the unveiling ceremony, and then there will be just about an hour or so for people to stroll the space, and there'll be guided tours, and then the concert will start quite promptly at 6:30.
Okay, I'll let you get back to it because I'm sure you and your officers are working hard.
Yes, after rehearsal.
Yes. Have a good evening and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Barbados.
Coming up, the Barbados Water Authority has a plan for burst mains. The Barbados Water Authority is working to address the burst main situation across the island. Director of Engineering Charles Leslie says the network is aged with some 2,500 kilometers of mains from 3 to 21 inches in diameter. He was speaking on CBC TV8's The People's Business.
Since we started pipe boring water to various areas on the island, we have not done any major mains replacement. So what we're finding now, our aged network is contributing to frequent bursts, as the caller just indicated. We're contributing to discolored water problems. So we have a number of areas across the island. We have in the north, you have some in St. James, you have some in Christchurch.
Mr. Leslie adds burst mains result in revenue loss, but plans are in the works to reduce their frequency.
We get approximately between 80 to 90 burst mains on the system per month. And this is high for any water utility. It causes us to lose a lot of water to what we call non-revenue water. So we produce the water, but then we don't get any revenue for it because it is going in the burst. Because we didn't have funding in the past, we couldn't do the mains replacement. We just extended the network to service new developments. But as I indicated earlier, from 2014, we would have started mains replacement major programs. The first one was funded by the IDB Bank. We, at that time, replaced 40 kilometers of main, and since then, we've been getting additional funding from the Caribbean Development Bank and other banks to assist us with mains replacement.
The agriculture and tourism sectors stand to benefit from a new attraction in Christchurch, Barbados. It's called the Paradise Nature Park. Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security Indar Ware cut the ribbon at the official opening today. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The minister toured the Christchurch facility accompanied by his permanent secretary. He says it has many attractions for Barbadians and tourists and can also provide learning opportunities for children.
Certainly, I'm interested in the hybridizing of the goats, and indeed I like to see the species of bird that we have here so that Barbadians can also have an opportunity to see what can be done and have an appreciation for wildlife as well. Now, where we live, we don't really have wildlife in Barbados. So even though this is in a controlled environment, it actually gives us an opportunity for our school children to be able to come and learn more about wildlife. And then it gives us an opportunity to create another tourist attraction as well.
Owner and Managing Director Mitchell Hurd says the project started nearly 10 years ago.
We started the project in 2015 with the intention of converting the derelict Ocean Park Aquarium property into a new visitor attraction that combined agricultural and a working farm with exotic animals and a botanical garden, with the intention of being able to provide a fun but educational opportunity specifically for Barbadian families to come and learn and see firsthand a lot of these animals, and I guess develop a passion for the natural world and learn more about it.
Mr. Hurd, who's also a biologist, says crossbreeding the existing animal stock in Barbados with imported species augurs well for the future of agriculture in Barbados.
I guess we hope that it's something that not just we can be proud of, but also Barbadians can be proud of to have here. And more importantly, I think that it allows them to see some new breeds of animals, and especially some of the newer breeds of agricultural animals that have been brought into Barbados that have tremendous future potential for kind of agricultural production, and hybridizing with local varieties and kind of optimizing productivity of the farming sector.
Further development of the facility is on the cards, including the creation of a fruit forest. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
The Forage Movement plays an important role in the future development of Barbados. This is the view of Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for sustainable development goals, Dr. Chantal Munro-Knight. Addressing an enrollment and recommitment ceremony of the Forage Foundation, Dr. Munro-Knight said sustainable development will be at the core of the 60th anniversary celebrations of the Forage Movement.
What the Sustainable Development Goals suggest to us is that there is an interconnectedness in how development happens. That if you achieve one goal, if you achieve one area of development, that it is still not enough in order to ensure what we would call a holistic development, because everything is so interconnected. And that is why we have these 17 goals, but we always say that they are cross-cutting and interconnected.
Teachers at the St. John Primary School took action again today, protesting environmental conditions. They were supported by parents as no children were on the compound. President of the Parent Teachers Association, Nicole Gill-Wilson, spoke on their behalf about the issue, which came to a head last Friday, with teachers conducting classes outside the classrooms. She says they're awaiting correspondence from the ministry about what will happen at the school going forward.
All the parents would have kept home their children today, so there are no children on the premises, and the teachers did report to school, but they refused to go inside of the school. We are feeling very disheartened at the moment because we really want to know what is going on and what the plan will be moving forward.
The first Vice President of the BUT, Julian Pierre, who is also Chairman of the Occupational Safety and Health Committee, says the staff and teachers are fed up with the situation. He says the issues range from mold to inadequate cleaning.
When we speak of cleaning, we speak of deep cleaning. We spoke to I think it was the industrial hygienist, that's his title, Mr. Weeks, who does most of the assessments within the school, who indicated what was in the environment, and he gave suggestions. This was as far back as June this year. However, during his inspection, which is actually still ongoing at this present moment, he realized that recommendations have not been followed, have not started as yet within the school.
The Ministry of Education says their investigations into the matter are ongoing. General Manager of the Atlantis Historic Inn in Tent Bay, St. Joseph, Javon Griffith, is complaining about an event over the weekend which resulted in the closure of the Ermeybourne Highway. He says neither businesses nor residents were formally notified of the staging of the We Thing Juve in the wee hours of Sunday morning.
Yesterday morning, I left home 6:15, took my usual route into work, and when I got to the area by Santosha, there were police officers in the road, private security, and then there were barricades across the road as well. And after about 10 minutes, I was allowed through. I was able then to drive from Santosha maybe 200 feet across the East Coast, and then that's when I realized that there was a huge go-slow. There was a police vehicle in front of me, and when I inquired of them about getting through, they were like, well, at the moment that would not be possible because the revelers are all over the road. So the road was completely shut down.
Mr. Griffith said as a result, he and his workers were stuck on the highway for 3 hours, including the 7 a.m. Spikestown bus. He adds it's not the first time they've been inconvenienced as a result of the event.
For the second time, the organizers of this event have been allowed to shut down a public highway for a private event with total disregard for the residents of the area, general road users. It happened in 2019. They apologized, said that if they were going to do this again, they would notify all the businesses in the area and the residents, and that was basically to ensure it would not happen again. But here we are again in 2023, they've done the exact same thing. As a result of this, Roundhouse, for example, yesterday, they had 12 cancellations for their Sunday brunch. They had to cancel the entire morning yoga session at last minute. They had several employees making it in late to work who would have lost pay yesterday through no fault of their own because they were arriving to work 3 hours late.
Sports time now with Davian Best.
Yes, good evening to you, Wendy. Well, the Lodge School moved back to the top of the table in League One of the Barbados Secondary Schools Under 19 football competition after a narrow 1-0 victory over Alexandra when the tournament continued at Ellerton. In other results, Christchurch Foundation also defeated Darrow Jordan 4-1, while Combermere and Queen's College played to a 2-2 draw. CBC's Anne Margaret Boyce reports.
Second half action and Christchurch Foundation already with a 2-goal advantage, but Darrow Jordan here with the golden opportunity to half the deficit from the penalty spot. It's not often that you see the goalkeeper stepping up to take the spot kick, custodian to custodian, and on this occasion Jamarco Shepherd makes no mistake, finishing to the right of his opposite number. 2-1 the score now. Foundation quickly restored their 2-goal lead when this cross found its way to a Kobe Nurse, who takes a touch and his deflected shot beats the keeper at the near post. Delight for Foundation, agony for Darrow Jordan. While the boys from on the hill added a 4 for good measure, the attempted clearance from Darrow Jordan fell nicely to Foundation's captain, Mikai Bowen, who draws this past Shepherd, and that's how it ended. Foundation 4, Darrow Jordan 1. The second encounter of this triple header features the Lodge School in their white tops taking on Alexandra. Lodge with the first goal scoring chance. The free kick is floated in on target, but that's catching practice for goalkeeper Raheem Agard. However, midway through the first half, and Lodge with another set piece opportunity, the free kick is played forward into the danger zone, and Agard, the keeper, misses it completely, appeals for the foul, but referee Ishmael is not interested. Lodge 1, Alexandra 0, and that was also the final score as Lodge moved to the summit of League One by 1 point ahead of the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Moving towards self-sufficiency will become the order of the day for fund access. Word of this from its chairman, David Simpson, as he addressed the institution's 25th anniversary Mix and Mingle.
Our future, however, is not necessarily as easy to undertake as our past, because we have to look at our future, as I said earlier this year, in terms of two things. Primarily, one, becoming more self-sufficient because of our current economic scenario. Government cannot fund us to the extent that they once used to. And secondly, we need to look at what we can do differently to ensure that we can create a viable international global standard businesses, so that those of you who desire to export your product or your service can do so if you choose to.
Reflecting on the past 2.5 decades, General Manager Esther Lord Graham says the agency has done well, contributing to the creation of 2,181 jobs.
I am no economist, but think of the impact that you may have had, that you have had, and that you're still having on our economy. With an average loan size about $34,000, the roughly $78 million that we have pumped into the Barbadian economy has been well worth it.
The grounds of the Globe Drive-In were transformed with several tents last weekend for the inaugural Globe Marketplace. Manager's assistant Sabrina Ali was happy with the response to the event, which attracted over 60 big and small businesses.
We have over 65 vendors here today, ranging from cars to plants to clothes. We have our corporate side, and then we have our small business side. It really gives them exposure to come and match, especially with the corporate people, because they would get, a lot of people know the corporate people already, but those people will now educate themselves about these small businesses. So it gives them a chance.
And many of the entrepreneurs were grateful for the opportunity to showcase their products and interact with the public.
It's our first experience here, so we're kind of new to this, but we are looking forward to bigger and better things. That's why we joined, because we want to expose ourselves to the market out there.
We started in 2019, right before COVID, so we had a little downtime due to the pandemic. We're trying to get back up right now.
That's our news. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.